If you've been around the Geometry Dash community for the past couple of weeks, then there's a good chance you have experienced Update 2.2's greatest phenomenon, the Lobotomy level. Featuring horrible gameplay, dizzying abusive camera effects, and of course, fire in the hole! These levels are essentially the brain rot of the Geometry Dash community, and players of the game and even the wider internet are loving it, sometimes too much. But when looking at these crazy levels that are being produced, one thing sticks out as the strangest thing of all, the name. If they were called brain rot or shitpost levels, then that would make perfect sense, as the levels are quite literally created with the intent of going against any principles of good levels in Geometry Dash. Instead, we have the current name, Lobotomy Levels. But what's a lobotomy? Why is it associated with such brain-hurting creations? And above all, what does it have to do with Geometry Dash? Our story begins almost a century ago, with Portuguese neurologist Antonio Egas Moniz. With an interest in treating mental illnesses, Moniz wanted to devise a procedure that could quite literally alter how a person's brain functioned, therefore quote-unquote correcting the afflicted person's mental illness. Although there was a lot of complicated research and development that went into its creation, for our purposes we will jump to the first procedure of its name, the first lobotomy. Carried out under the watch of Moniz, 1935 saw the first lobotomies to be carried out on people. In general, the process of a lobotomy involved breaking through the skull and then modifying the prefrontal cortex of the brain, in an effort to literally change the mind of the person being operated on. In this way, neurosurgeons could erase the patient's quote-unquote mental illness, completing their task. But what does this have to do with Geometry Dash's latest trend? The answer, of course, lies in the lobotomy's fatal flaws. While lobotomies may have been able to accomplish the modifications they set out to make, the horrible side effects of these procedures far outweighed the positives. Possible complications included permanent and severe brain damage, seizures, and even death in some cases. Not to mention the fact that lobotomies were horribly unethical, literally destroying the personality and identity of the afflicted person. In addition, lobotomies were often reflections of societal bias rather than genuine medical problems. Gay men, for example, were often subjected to lobotomies, a homophobic attempt to erase their identity. A more strict view of mental illness held in the past made any divergence from the supposed normal a flaw. Today, something like being gay or introverted is well understood and embraced as a part of someone's identity. However, this was not always true in the 20th century, and such traits were often considered flaws. This led to lobotomies for the purpose of correcting these quote-unquote flaws that we today acknowledge as simple elements of a person's identity and personality, certainly not something that needs to be altered or fixed. Not only were lobotomies a terrible idea as medical practice, but they were also used to discriminate and oppress. Luckily, the field of neuroscience and many world governments have since realized the obscenely obvious flaws of the lobotomy, leading to its banning in many countries around the world. However, the lobotomy is still legal in many places and thus serves as a present threat to the health and identity of many, a problem that still needs to be combated. So I ask again, how does this catastrophic failure of neuroscience relate to the Geometry Dash trend with the same name? Well, the answer lies not in the lobotomy itself, but its effects. The illogical, nonsensical, and headache-inducing nature of these levels is effectively a reflection of the adverse neurological effects that the lobotomy could have on its patients. Thus, lobotomy levels poke fun at the sheer stupidity of cutting someone's head open to cure their introversion or divergences from the status quo. Ironically enough, this seemingly dumb trend actually serves as a commentary on a complex scientific and social issue. While this may be a rather grotesque connection to be made, it is cool to know that what may just seem like a joke to the creator serves as a well-deserved critique of malpractice and discrimination, both in medicine and society as a whole. So next time you see a lobotomy level in the recent tab, appreciate it, not just as a joke, but as a symbol of progress in our world.